working on today, Benny?
I can evaluate expressions with negative exponents and zero exponents.
So Ben says we are evaluating expressions with negative exponents and zero. Patterns of exponents. This is your explanation. For those of you watching the video now, so I'm talking to you in the future here. This is your explanation, number one, of why negative exponents are fractions. It is simply a pattern. It is simply a pattern, and we use a pretty basic base of 2 to show the pattern. Number 2 down here shows the pattern using a variable, and number 3 explains it both with words and also the formula for negative exponents. If you're struggling with understanding negative exponents, I would definitely look at the pattern, the first thing we did, and then this explanation right here is really the easiest way to help you remember how to calculate negative exponents or what to do with a negative exponent. By the way, all of this information here on main idea number 1 you guys gave me. I did none of this. So you guys knew nothing about, I would think it's fair to say none of you knew anything about negative exponents or how they are calculated. You guys told me basically all of this. Yes or no? Okay, which is kind of my challenge to you, is you know more than what you think you know. You just have to figure it out. Number 2, we just did some examples of how to calculate or evaluate negative exponents. B and C is a pretty good contrast. You got to be careful when dealing with negatives. Same rules apply. Negative 7 squared is negative 7 to the negative second power gives you 149th. Negative 3 to the negative third gives you a negative 127th because you are cubing negative 3 times. So a negative number to an odd power is still going to be a negative. You guys showed this in example number 1, our pattern, 0 power. The 0 power of any number except 0 is 1. The B stands for base in your formula right here. So b to the power of 0 equals 1, except for if b is 0. And then something from our last lesson, make sure that you understand when you're squaring a number, you're only squaring the base. In this case, we're squaring what's inside the parentheses, because it's parentheses. But when you have a negative 2 to the power of 2, you're only squaring the 2. You're not squaring the negative. You're only squaring the base, not what's attached to the base in that situation. And number 5, then we showed our number 7 here, we showed our order of operations of how to solve a problem with a 0 and a negative exponent. So go ahead and take a look at that. And then our real world example that we came up with is calculating finances, both in the positive with positive exponents, and then possibly even if you are losing money with negative exponents. I don't know that you would ever be in debt with negative exponents because negative exponents don't necessarily bring you below 0, do they?
No.
The base has to be negative to bring you below 0, yes or no? But not the exponent. The exponent doesn't guarantee you'll go below 0. So again, we'll go back to Brianna's question. Any negative exponent is just going to give you a fraction above 0 unless the base, if you look at letter C right here, stop. If you look at letter C here, in this situation, we now have a negative base to a negative power. There's where you're going to get into your debt. Okay, any questions before we stop?